Welcome to the Benie Bonsu show. I have the great honor today with being here with His Excellency Kweku Danso Boafo. Did I pronounce it right?
In fact, you were the first person to have gotten so right since I've been here.
You guys heard that?
It's all right.
It's all right.
Yes.
But it's a great honor to be here.
It's a pleasure.
Reading about you has been a great inspiration to me. I don't know why I was surprised, because I looked at your biography. I said, oh my gosh, he's a teacher, he's a lecturer, he's been a president of this society, that society. He's traveled the world. He's been to South America. I don't know any Ghanaians that have been that far. And I'm really excited. I was just saying to the guys that I was really nervous coming to meet you. But actually speaking to you, you sound like you could be one of my uncles, my dad, anybody. But thank you so much for speaking to me today.
No, actually, thank you. We want our brothers and sisters to get to know us and know what we do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's great to see you.
It's great to have you in London as well.
But
what I want to do is start off, just like if I didn't know you, who would you be? You know, where did you come from? What was your childhood like? What's your family like?
Well, you know my name. You've mentioned my name, Kweku Danso Boafo. Of course, Kweku means I was born on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean Wednesday. People tend to make that mistake. Mm-hmm. Our names are given based on the days on which we are born, but it doesn't mean the dates. Mm-hmm. Wednesday is Ukwada, which is different from Kweku. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was born at Boafo in the Eastern region, the Achimabuakwa district. Both parents come from the same town, and we are Achims, Buakwas. Unfortunately, my mother never went to school, not even 1 minute of school. Mm-hmm. My father had, some education after secondary school, mm-hmm. and became a linguist or Chenhine at Chebi. We grew up at Chebi, mm-hmm. Again in the Eastern region, in the Achimabuakwa traditional area. I went to school both at Abomosu and at Chebi. There used to be a famous boys' school at Chebi called Oman Boys Middle School, founded by the state, and that's where I did my elementary education. And from there, I took the common entrance and went to secondary school. I went to secondary school at Oforopening Secondary School in Utafo. It's one of the new secondary schools built by Kwame Nkrumah, first president. Mm-hmm. And from there, I went to the College of Education at Winneba. Mm-hmm. And from Winneba, I left for the United States. I did a bachelor's degree at Suffolk University in Boston. I continued to do a master's in public administration at Northeastern University, also in Boston, Massachusetts. And then I moved on to Howard University in Washington, D.C., because both in Boston, I had been exposed to a lot of European history, European tradition, so on and so forth. I wanted to learn a little bit more about Africa, because my ultimate goal was to complete my education and go back to Ghana. And I didn't know that much about Ghana in terms of the academic preparation. The bachelor's degree was, Eurocentric in terms of being trained in an American institution. So I pursued a PhD at Howard University in Washington, D.C. And when I completed the PhD in December 1981, that was a long time ago. You probably were not born.
I was born on 1981.
1981, I moved to the University of Ghana to teach. And that was a very, very, very remarkable experience for me, because I had always admired the University of Ghana. It was our premier university. We had great minds, great philosophers, great professors. So I wanted to be part of that community. So I started teaching there with a lot of very young folks, and remember that 1981, 1982, we were all very young. Mm-hmm. And the period coincided with the days of the PNDC, because Jerry Rawlings had come again in December 1981, mm-hmm. and a few months after I took my appointments as university lecturer. So it was quite an exciting period for us. We were experimenting with several new political ideas. And at the University of Ghana, I think within the first 3 months, so I was elected as the General Secretary of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. The position that I really, really enjoyed because it exposed me to a lot of my colleague professors across the country, because at the time our 3 main universities were University of Cape Coast, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, which at the time was University of Science and Technology, and then University of Ghana. And at Legon, we were engaged in a lot of politics because the universities were predominantly hostile to the PNDC. They did not like the Rawlings ideas.
Why? Why were they hostile to the idea of PNDC?
Well, you see, our universities have traditionally been very conservative and elitist. They felt that they are the lecturers and professors are the rightful rulers of Ghana. Some questioned the credentials of Jerry Rawlings to be head of state. Not just because he was a military man, they questioned his own preparation, academic preparation, his experience, because he was quite young, about 30, about 31 or so years at the time, and he was introducing a lot of very radical political and economic ideas, and people didn't like it. He had come up with the ideas of People's Defense Committees, Workers' Defense Committees, and these were very, very new things in Ghana.
Do you think Ghana at a time, because you had traveled, you studied in Ghana, you'd gone to Atlanta, you'd done your master's and your PhD over there, and obviously being Atlanta has a lot of history for Black Americans, and you'd come back, there's new ideas, there's a group of young men that want to change the way things are. At the time, was Ghana scared of scared of change because they were so used to one way of things, and then all of a sudden you guys were there and said, no, we shouldn't do things this way, we should do it that way?
No, at that time I hadn't gone to Atlanta yet. Okay. It was after I had taught at the University of Ghana for some time that I took leave to go to return to Atlanta. But Rawlings had come in, staged a coup that overthrew the constitutionally elected government of Dr. Hilary Liman. And people felt that Liman had not been given enough time to consolidate his position and put together the social and economic programs that would ensure development of the country. So they were questioning the rationale for the coup. They were also questioning some of the policies that were being put in place. The economy was in ruins. Our balance of payments were, was very, very poor. There were shortages in terms of food, medicines, drugs. Mass exodus of professionals to, outside Ghana. There was some sort of disorganization in society, and people did not take kindly to it, and therefore they felt that the country should have, the politicians should have been given the opportunity to stay in there to correct things, and that Rawlings had come in at a time where these kinds of things had been prematurely halted, and that's why there was so much hostility against him. But he survived, so I stayed on. Worked on some of the projects that ensured stability and eventual preparation to civilian rule in 1992.
I want to take you to America when you got to America. Now, being Ghanaian, African, going to America to go and study in a university, what was that experience like for somebody coming from Ghana?
Well, I was quite young at the time. I had prepared myself psychologically. I had read the experiences of Kwame Nkrumah. It influenced me a great deal. I had also read the background of Dr. Agri, one of the pioneers of Achimota School. And I had studied the experiences, how they felt to be a black student at the time in the United States. So of course, I got there after the promulgation of the Civil Rights Act and so on and so forth. So black folks had the freedoms that Nkrumah and others did not have. When I arrived in the U.S., I was quite conservative. I had embraced even the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah. I was happy that he had been kicked out of office. Of course, growing up at Chibi, the political culture has been very conservative. We had been supporters of the United Party, the National Liberation Movement, so on and so forth. And in our home environment, everybody was, a United Party person. But after being there and studying, reading a lot of Kwame Nkrumah's books, Africa Must Unite, Neo-Colonialism, The Last Stage of Imperialism, I said to myself, we really lost an opportunity. We've lost a great man. He had great ideas who could have assisted us in terms of our social and economic development. So I started looking for answers, And I said to myself, we had been brainwashed into thinking that Nkrumah was a demagogue. We believed everything that was being pumped into our heads. The Western media had given us the impression that Ghana was being turned into a communist state because Kwame Nkrumah was supposedly a communist and so on and so forth. So I became angry, at myself, at Ghanaians who opposed Kwame Nkrumah. And from that time on, my politics changed. And that was the reason I said after getting a bachelor's and a master's degree in Boston, I wanted to move on to Harvard to get to know the Africanness, the Afrocentric approach to education. Nothing bothered me, and the social factors didn't bother me. I didn't have money. I was a private student. Let me emphasize that. I went in there.
How were you funding yourself when going to America, school in America?
Working, doing all kinds of things. Name it, I've done it. Working as a security guard, working as a dishwasher, working as a waiter. I did all of these things because my parents didn't have it. I didn't get into my childhood years. But any sociologist would have told you that the circumstances I was born into could easily have created some delinquency problems for me. Any sociologist would have predicted that there was no way I could even complete middle school.
What made you do? Like, you've come from a family where dad went to school up to secondary standard, mom didn't go. You have brothers and sisters?
Yes, we're six. There are six
of you. And
I'm the second.
And you're the second one. And you decided that you're going to take yourself from Eastern region, complete your education, go to a new country where you know nothing about, apart from what you've read from the books, and make it happen because you were interested in helping your continent.
Yes.
What was it like?
Our larger family is a very political family. Some of the most prominent politicians you find in Ghana come from my family. But the unfortunate thing is, unless you pull yourself out of poverty and make something out of yourself, you're not recognized. One thing I had going for me was that, not that I'm saying it because we're here or I'm bragging on anything. I was very brilliant in kid. I was first throughout from class 1, all the way up until I went to secondary school. And so I was fortunate enough to have had a government scholarship. In secondary school, I think I got into all kinds of things, and therefore I wasn't as good as I was supposed to have been. And I think, again, in secondary school, I was denied of all kinds of things. I will tell you a story. When I went to secondary school, even though I had a government scholarship, I did not have a pair of trousers and a white shirt. And these were requirements to go to dining hall. So I couldn't go to dining hall. Can you imagine? I couldn't go to dining hall because I didn't have a pair of trousers and I didn't have a white shirt. So I had a friend who lent me a pair of trousers. He was much taller than me. So obviously the trousers was going to be much taller. So I used to fold the waist. And after folding the waist, I couldn't tuck my shirt in. So I was notorious in secondary school having had my shirt flying over my trousers all the time. And it was against school regulations, And so we were punished, punishment and so on and so forth. But you see, I found a way in making fun of the whole thing. That I used to tell folks that, oh, because I'm from a bush area, I don't know how to tuck in my shirt and so on and so forth. So when I entered that, you have to be properly dressed as a gentleman to enter dining hall. So I had to have my shirt tucked in. There were a lot of young ladies around, and I didn't want to look like a fool. Because despite the fact that I was also very poor, I had a lot of friends, you know, both male and female, on campus. So the dining hall prefect used to call me names, you know, oh, you go in, and then he will let me in without my shirt being tucked in, you know. But there was another thing that in middle school, in this boys' school, head teacher was such a visionary. Every morning at assembly, those of us who went to these local authority schools, we assemble in front of the classroom. You sing songs, you recite the national anthem, the national pledge, and then you march in. And he will give us a little sermon, talk to us about civics, responsibility, so on and so forth. There used to be this bus, Mercedes bus, that ply from Chebi to Accra in the morning. You used to leave very early in the morning at Chebi. Chebi to Accra is about 49 miles, but we will leave about 4, 5 a.m. And on the back of the car, you know Chebi, you know Ghanaian vehicles, we have all kinds of
Jesus saying,
Yes, on the back, he had, make your mark. So every morning our head teacher would refer us, you know, to the bus. How many of you saw the bus this morning? And in fact, every child at that time of the morning would see the bus because we had to get up in the morning to go and fetch water. And in fetching water, you see the bus going there. So we all raise our hands. Say, what did you see written on the back of the bus? And everybody will shout, make your mark. You know. So he would tell us, I want you, every child in this school, to make a mark. Don't live life without making a mark. You know. And it stuck with all of us. You know, you come home, the parents would do the same thing. They will remind you, what did the head teacher say? You need to make, whether you are poor, rich, or anything, you needed to make a mark. So it stayed with me. So once I got to the US, regardless of the fact that I was supporting myself, poor most of the time, I had no idea how I was going to pay my fees. But then I said, with the opportunity of coming in here, Kwame Nkrumah came here, returned, he made a mark. He was as poor as I was. He had no resources, no scholarship. He studied and returned. The only thing I had going for me, the only reason I came here was to study. And regardless of the hardships, regardless of the circumstances, I'm going to study even if I don't have to sleep. And I also remembered my parents, who were so proud to have raised a son who had eventually left. And you know, those days, leaving Ghana was a big thing. I didn't have to disappoint them, you know. And then I also look at Nkrumah came, he made all these sacrifices, went back, not for himself, but to liberate Ghana, lead Ghana to independence. What am I going to do when I leave here? Let me study as fast as I can, as long as I have resources to pay. So I worked. At times I had 2 jobs. You know, I worked from 3 o'clock to 11 p.m., then from 11 p.m. to 7 in the morning. And 7 in the morning, I come home, change, pick a few books, and run to class. You know, I was doing this every single day, because in addition to paying for my books, I had to also remit my parents and my brothers and sisters who had me left in Ghana, and friends. You know, so there was no time to rest, no time to sleep. It didn't bother me because I needed to make a mark. I needed to fulfill the objectives for which I came to the United States. I wasn't going to go back empty-handed, you know. And gladly and thankfully to God, I managed to, you know, do well with the bachelor's degree. And when I finished, I said, oh, with the bachelor's degree out of the way, why not stay? And, you know, my mother was angry. You know, you said we were going to, because, you know, a literate woman, finishing secondary school to her was enough. Now you've gone to the university, you've gotten a bachelor's degree, and you want to stay. So I finished the master's, and I said, I might as well stay and do the PhD. Because I remember when I was in primary school, class 6, I had written doctor by my name. Because in one of our classes, we were talking about best scholars. And they used to make reference to Dr. Zikowe, who later on became president of Nigeria, and Dr. Busia. Even though Dr. Zikiwe's doctorate degree was an honorary one, we didn't know the difference. So I liked this Dr. Busia, Dr. Zikiwe thing.
So you wanted one?
I wrote it by my name in my exercise book. Those days, exercise book. The teacher got so angry, he threw the exercise book out and asked me to leave the class. You know, so I said, "Mother, why is the teacher, you know?" And in fact, I didn't even quite understand what the doctrine meant. You know, I knew there was a J.B. Dankwa who was also a doctor from Chebi that I used to see quite often. So I said, well, I might as well do all of these things before I go home, because I can't go back to Ghana and return to the US to complete my education. I have the opportunity, I'm here, and I have done enough to earn some graduate assistantships, some scholarships, and so on. So by that time, I was living quite, you know, comfortably. I could buy my books, I could buy clothes, I could do whatever I needed to do without having to work 2 jobs, you know. So fortunately, I completed the PhD, and as soon as I finished, I said, I am not spending one day. In fact, in 1980, I was doing my dissertation, my doctoral research, so I went to the University of Ghana to do it. And, you know, in my interaction with lecturers at the time, everybody advised me to come home.
Then you went home and you became the Minister of Health.
Yes, it was
How was that, and what was your main mission with that
it was
role?
after, when I served as ambassador to Cuba. One day I was called that I had been appointed Minister for Health of Ghana. And, you know, being a Minister for Health of Ghana is not the easiest of jobs, because we have a lot of challenges in the health sector. Doctors are going on strike for better remuneration. Nurses are going on strike for better conditions of service. I accepted the challenge and went, and served as a Minister for Health for 1 year. And I learned quite a bit. I visited every country, and I saw things that I never thought existed. I saw the extent and level of poverty. I thought I came from a very poor background, and seeing what I saw at the time, I felt that I was quite lucky. I had I came from a very good home, even though we were poor, and I discovered that they were poor. There were individuals who were much, much poorer than than myself, you know. But what I also saw was that people really place a lot of emphasis on curative aspects of health. People want to see the big hospitals. They want to see the big expansion and health infrastructure, as opposed to preventing ourselves from getting sick. You know, but we did quite a bit. HIV was a problem at the time. We managed to reduce the prevalence rate. We also tackled malaria, guinea worm, blurry, ulcer, and several diseases. But it was a very serious challenge that I think it was in the Ministry of Health that I probably lost all my hair, because I used to have yes. When I took up the position, people used to tell me that we're giving you a few months, all your hair will fall off. And indeed, by the time I left office, I had lost 75% of my hair.
Jesus, and
I think I'm still going through the stress.
Now, you're High Commissioner now. How can you be stressed now?
The job of a High Commissioner is very, very challenging, especially being in London. You know, this is our #1 mission. This is our flagship mission. This is the largest of our missions. You know, we have a staff of about 88, and we do all kinds of things here. We have a police unit. We have an education unit. We have economic and business unit. We have an international maritime organization unit within the High Commission. We do have an information unit. In addition to my job as High Commission, we also have some parastatals in town that supervised by the High Commission. You know, we have a bank here, Ghana International Bank. I don't know if you know.
You mentioned it at the press conference for the Ghana-Brazil game, and we all kind of just looked at each other and said, what?
Yeah, it's 67 Cheapside Road at the downtown. I think it's in a 6-story, very beautiful building. We own it. It was owned by the government of Ghana. We also have Ghana Cocoa Board, and then Forestry Commission. You know, and then we have the Ghana University's office. We have an office here that caters for all our universities. And about a month ago, all the vice chancellors of Ghana's universities were here. We had an open house. We had a forum where we educated the British government on the quality of our universities, because we want to attract Ghanaians who want to return to Ghana for university of education, to pursue university education, to come, because it's much, much cheaper in Ghana than here, and they get quality education. And since they will be returning to their roots, we want to open our doors to them. So we are quite very busy mission. We are also part of the Commonwealth. We are currently chairing the Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group, which is the highest decision-making body within the Commonwealth. We are chairing the Commonwealth Foundation. I'm currently the chair of the Commonwealth Foundation. Within the foundation, we've set up an interim management committee, of which I'm again chairing. As I sit here, we are preparing for the next Heads of State Summit, Heads of Government Summit of the Commonwealth. It will be taking place in October next month. In October in Australia.
Okay. Oh,
yes,
that's nice.
Yes, and next 2 weeks we will be going to the United Nations. We have meetings. Our president will be coming, and there are several discussions there. So we are in the process of preparing the necessary papers and.
What happened? So, talking about marks, when you were growing up and you wanted to make a mark, what mark do you want to leave in the UK for the Ghana-based British people? Yeah,
it's a very good question. We want to bring everybody together. We want to make sure that people don't forget about Ghana. In May last year, we had a function that we called for sons and daughters, people of Ghanaian ancestry who supposedly been delinked from Ghana. I had a reception at the residency. We had 150 of such people. Hugh Koshi and others were there. I don't know if you came.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. It was a very good, and we talked, Paul Boateng and others were there. We spoke about Ghana, and we want to attract these individuals back. Right now, my objective is to set up a skills data bank. We are collating the skills of all Ghanaians and people of Ghanaian ancestry in the United Kingdom who would eventually be asked to come and work, or if they have interest in coming to Ghana, all we need to do is to go into the data bank and we'll pull out these skills. We'll be launching the website and all the others at the forum, which is coming up next week. Our third major undertaking project is the youth. We had a youth forum at the Tottenham Leisure Centre last year, October 2nd. Yeah. And that was very well attended, thankfully funded by Tullow Oil. We following it up next year with another youth forum. But in between, we've started classes, we've started workshops, resume writing, interviewing skills, even providing remedial classes for individuals who may not be doing so well.
Yeah, because
in
that's
math, science. At Highj, at the other.
Because that's one question I was going to bring up to you, because my background is in teaching like yourself, but more dealing with youth crime in London. And, in the past couple of years, Ghanaian kids are not known as troublemakers in the UK. We are not known as that. But in the recent years, what we've come to find out is quite a few of the Ghanaian kids are becoming wise to the laws of what they can and cannot do. So you have parents who are not comfortable or don't understand the law. They don't know what they can and cannot do with the kids. We recently had the Tottenham riots, which was, a lot of young people were involved in it. A lot of Ghanaians do live in Tottenham. I went to a Catholic Christians mothers group, and some of the concerns that the mothers showed was that we don't know what to do with our kids. They're 13 years old. We can't tell them what to do. And some of the questions, we asked the public, what question would you like to ask the Ghana High Commissioner when you interview him? And some of it is, what can the High Commission do to back up these groups, such as the Christian mothers who've got over 200 women in there, to deal with the young people who might be falling on the wayside?
Yeah, a good question. We are working with several organizations. As I said, we've started the classes. I think the next section is going to be held on October 27th. We'll be making announcements in churches. We'll be and on radio. We will be increasing the advertising so that young people who are interested in registering for these kinds of workshops can take advantage of those. We want to move a step further by linking them up, providing some internships, some apprenticeships to occupy the kids during the summer so they don't fall into unnecessary trouble. We had a meeting here yesterday. There is a group headed by Hannah Aqua. I don't know if you know her. It's called the Knowledge Channel. They are helping us a lot in the Knowledge Channel and the Leadership Participation Workshop. They are providing us with the resource persons who will be teaching the students. So we want to link up with this group. And we'll make several announcements at the forum next week, so that we recognize that there are disparate groups who are doing things independently. Now we want to bring some coordination, bring everybody together. So when people come to see me and they talk about what they do and what they like to do, I invite them to join us. So I want to take advantage of this opportunity to invite our brothers and sisters who have some competence in these areas to lend us their services. We don't have money to pay everybody. Almost all we are doing is on volunteer basis.
Because with the Christian mothers, myself, obviously coming from teaching background and also police background, have actually had to sit down with these parents and said, you can do this, you can't do that. This is the reasons why the kids are doing this, and explaining it to them. But another question that did come up was fathers, the involvement of fathers. Because most of the time, being a teacher in London, parents' evening, mothers will come. The ones that can't come because they've got 3 jobs, they're working to make ends meet. But the fathers, most of the time, some of them, we don't see them at all. How do we encourage fathers to be more actively involved in their kids' life, especially the young boys in London?
Well, I think you're talking to the right person, because I'm a man and a father too. So we have to find a way of bringing all the fathers together. I think the next forum we will have, which will be next October, we would place a lot more emphasis on father participation in these activities. You are right, even at the forum we had last year, you saw that there was predominantly female. There weren't that many fathers. So we'll be making announcements on TV, we'll be making announcements in the churches, and we'll send special invitations to attract fathers. We would also be using the Nananum, the chiefs we have here. Fortunately, all of them are men. There are a few queen mothers, but we will use them to bring the fathers around. There are a lot of pastors in town, and fortunately or unfortunately, most of them are men. So we will appeal to them and tell them, get them to understand that the single parenting is not helping us. It's not our culture, and that is contributing to the frequency of delinquency amongst our youth. But we don't have the resources meaning financial resources, to address all these issues. But we can mobilize the community in such a way that everybody will be contributing their quota to addressing this issue we currently face.
I think it would be nice, because we recently took part in community conversations with Boris Johnson, and we had this conversation at Tottenham Town Hall where we invited him, hosted by myself and Reverend Nims, and we invited the whole community. And we spoke to them in regards to why it's important that the whole community stick together and support nurturing our kids. It's not financial, it's more kind of what you would do if it was your child. And it would be great to do something for the Ghanaian community. On a positive note, we do have a lot of Ghanaians in London that are successful, very successful. And what can we do with the Ghana High Commission to celebrate those who are doing amazing things, where we should really also focus on them also, so then the others can see.
That was the whole purpose of the sons and daughters reception I had at the residency. We intend to continue with that. It costs us quite a bit of money to host such events, but we are not giving up. When was it? I think about 2 months, no, less than 2 months ago, Prince Charles had a garden party to which he invited, we
went to that.
You were there?
Yeah, but I didn't get my invitation. I got the invitation from him because I worked for him for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, all the invitations came from his office. We provided a list, and we did not invite anybody per se, contrary to what is being said in the Ghanaian community. So through those kinds of activities, we would be bringing, trying to bring everybody together. We announced at the forum that we want mentors. We want people to mentor young folks. And we are encouraging people to approach us. We're encouraging people to register with us so that we can link them up, assign them some young folks they will be mentoring. And that is part of the classes we are holding, that once we take these children through workshops, once the children develop some self-confidence, once they are able to market themselves, then we'll find them placements. And within the placements, there will be mentors who will be helping them to develop into adulthood. So I'm happy that people like you who are already in there.
I would offer my services as an ambassador to get all these professionals to be mentors for these young, because it has a great impact. And I'm glad that you mentioned Prince Charles, because Prince Charles has a charity called the Prince's Trust that deals with kids that have fallen off the wayside, being mentored by professionals, and that's what I did with him for the 5 years I was with Clarence House. But it's a great idea, and I really do appreciate that you're actually doing that.
We're going to link up with the Reverend the Bishop Tutu Foundation to assist us in getting some of these delinquency issues addressed. So we are working on several fronts, and we need people like you to assist us.
I'll offer that. I'll be an ambassador, and I promise tomorrow evening I'm in Ghana. I will shout the word out and let everybody know as well.
Great.
Another question I had for you, which is, I'm sure you'd be the perfect person to answer it. But we've had a lot of discussion on the Benie Bonsu show, which is in regards to females in business or intellectual females. Do you think, in your opinion, that intellectual females get more of a harsh, view than men do who are intelligent?
Realistically and practically, of course, yes. Not that we, not that we do it or is deliberate, but I think it's been it's been a historical problem, and we would overcome it. As you and I know, there was a time that females could not vote, not in the United Kingdom, not in the United States. So society is recognizing these problems. They see the economic cost of such discrimination, and we will eventually overcome it. We don't condone it, and Ghana has done well because we started our history with
women,
female participation in and even in some of the ethnic groups, the Akans especially, women tend to play a more predominant role in society because we tend to be matrilineal. As I'm sitting here, I'm matrilineal.
I'm a Yasantosi, so I've got a face. Another question they had that I have to ask you, and this came from a Ghanaian-born NBA basketball player. And he said he came to London this summer for the Olympic test event. He really enjoyed it. He went to a few Ghanaian restaurants and he loved it. He wants me to ask you, when will we have a lot of Ghanaian fast food restaurants that he could just walk in like McDonald's and buy kilowille, kebab, and walk out straight away?
I am surprised that he's talking about fast foods when we are campaigning against fast foods, for all kinds of health reasons. I think we are getting there. We don't have that many Ghanaian entrepreneurs in London. We've had a few Ghanaian restaurants. Even the few we've had have all faced all kinds of difficulties. In fact, I have called a meeting several times. I'm trying to bring all the Ghanaian businesses together. We will meet here and see how best we can assist them. It has not been successful because people just don't have the time to come to such meetings. And in the past, because of the hostility between missions and embassies and the Ghanaian community, when we call such meetings, they tend to question it because they don't see the immediate results or what can the High Commission do for us, and so on and so forth. But I think it will come. Yeah, it will come. We will soon have places. I think I know there's a place where they have kebabs at Guinea fowl.
He went to Gold Coast and he loved the food, so he was just like, why can't we have so much of this in London?
Well, you should have advised him that he should invest some of his money in here.
Oh, I'm trying to get him to invest in Ghana, not in London. But last but not least, next year is an important year for London. The Olympics are coming.
Yes.
Ghana is now back in the mix. Ghana is going to take part, and we have some Olympians are coming as well. How are we going to get the Ghanaian community to back our people, but also, just like we had the same atmosphere when we went to the World Cup, how do we bring that here to London next year?
We have a group here, we have a committee that's working on the Olympics. We are in charge of several communities, Greenwich City, for instance. We have this partnership with, because the Greenwich Meridian passes through here, through Tema and stuff. They've offered some facilities. We have Ghanaians in Liverpool and Manchester who are also organizing. So as the time approaches, we're waiting for the official whistle to be blown in terms of the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, admitting Ghana back. We were suspended for some very small reasons. Now we are back. So now that the official whistle has been blown, we're going to be liaising with the communities and educate them and mobilize them to support our team when the team gets here.
So just to end it, what are your favorite British foods here? What can you not live without in London? And it has to be British, it can't be Ghanaian.
I always ask myself, I am an African, a Ghanaian. Even though I've lived outside for many, many years, I don't have any favorite foreign food. I don't eat any foreign food.
So you just eat Ghanaian food?
I just eat Ghanaian food, and I'll continue to eat Ghanaian food.
You don't have tea?
I'm not a tea person. These days I take cocoa chocolate.
Oh.
Because that's what we grow. And I always want to promote the idea that we must eat what we produce. We must consume what we produce and produce what we consume. So that's what I do. I want to practice what I preach.
Oh, that's really good. I should really do that because I don't. But it's been amazing talking to you.
Well,
you have inspired me to go to Ghana and be part of the politics. So I will do.
We need people like
next
you.
year.
We are going off the stage. We need the younger generation to take over from us. And you are free to come here and seek advice and chat with us. And you want some political contacts, we can make all these things for you. I
am inspired because I've always loved politics, but I've loved education and sports part of the politics. And I feel, just like you said, you've left Ghana, gone to America, gone to Southern America, come to London as a High Commissioner. You made a mark, which is very inspirational. And just like your story, I came from Ghana, went to the States, came here, studied. And like your parents, my parents, the only thing they understood is education is important. If you don't have education, you can't do anything. So my mark is taking what I can get from here, which is part of being part of the Olympics, so on and so forth. Take it back home and use it for areas where they will find it more useful in Ghana than here. So I've been inspired talking to you.
Well, my mother used to say that you can be as wealthy as anything. You can have all the clothes and shoes you want. You can lose all of it in minutes. The only thing you can't lose, regardless of the circumstances, is education. And that has been one of my guiding principles.
And I think it's going to be mine for the rest of my life.
Here is my mother who never went to school.
No, but it's been, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anytime.
It's been so nice being here at the Ghana High Commission in the UK, speaking to His Excellency Kweku Danso Boafo. When I came here, I was nervous because I didn't know what to expect, but speaking to him has been very inspirational. It doesn't matter what political party you come from. Behind the title is a man that actually had a mission to make a mark, and he's clearly made that mark here and also in Ghana, and I respect that very much. Thank you for watching the Benie Bonsu show, and we'll see you soon.